Hello and namaste. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all our attendees from all over the world. A very warm welcome to yet another Lighting Superstars event, the fourth one, conceived by Dr. Amardeep Duggar, organized by IALD India region, and today hosted by the vivacious Purvi.
And the very loved Linus. We are excited to be hosting this very first IALD event of 2021. Happy New Year to all. We would like to kickstart the event series on the most positive note possible, especially after a very turbulent 2020. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, guys.
A little bit of the background of what we are doing today. IALD, as many of you know, is the International Association of Lighting Designers, headquartered in Chicago. Last year marked the 50th anniversary year of IALD. Under the leadership of Mr. Babu Shankar and Dr. Duggar, IALD India chapter became a reality in 2015. Under the IALD India banner, a number of hands-on lighting workshops have been conducted in various colleges across the country. And the workshops held in the month of February last year was the last before the pandemic hit. Considering that everybody was going to be stuck in their homes for the foreseeable future, Dr. Amardeep conceptualized a series of fun and knowledge events, to bring the lighting community together, have fun, and share knowledge. So with the help of the ILD headquarters team of Joe, the behind the screens man, May, Ashley, and Kelly, and along with our three amazing new coordinators, who I will request to have their cameras switched on so that everybody can be introduced to Anusha, Kiran, and Nevadita. Please meet ILD India's new coordinators. These series of events are now a reality.
The lighting bloopers, the lighting quiz, the lighting sketches had an amazing response from you all. We thank each one of you on behalf of the ILD and ILD India chapter for all the love and support. This week, ILD India provides a platform for the Indian lighting community to present and display what they do when they're not working with light.
So if we can go to the next slide, Joe. And remember that this is not a competition. It cannot be. Even while various friends and folks that we have worked with for many years have various ideas about we as lighting professionals do, there is an amazing array of talents from a passionate bunch of multidimensional lighting professionals that will be on view today. And we have been touched and almost completely blown away by the spectrum and the depth of talent and devotion in the responses that we have received. Be sure to have your headphones on for better sound. Today, you all are going to be in for a treat of stories of soulful, passion-driven creativity and nurtured talent from different corners of the country, in fact, the globe.
Right, so without further banter, we as hosts would like to open the evening with snippets of our very own interests. But first, some housekeeping rules. Before the event starts, for the duration of the event, all viewers shall be on mute. The presenters will be called on to turn on and unmute themselves, switch on their cameras and present their work, and then kindly mute your mics and switch off your cameras. All attendees are encouraged to use the chat box to communicate and express their responses to the individual presenters. So let's get started. Joe? Yes, thank you. Sure, a lot of you already know Linus very well, but to those who don't, I'd like to introduce this warm gentleman from my neighboring coastal state, Goa, a very highly regarded and experienced member in the lighting industry, who's a fiercely articulate with his speech, and you can find him around any intellectual debate from lighting, philosophy, design, and life. He has several hidden talents under his belt, and one of them being music. And today he is our showstopper with a rather emotional and gripping piece. Linus, before you take stage, would you like to tell our audience a little bit about your performance, please?
Thanks, Purvi. I'm blushing in the light of my background. Um, well, given that during the pandemic, the other passions of travel, biking, and socializing were sort of nixed pretty much, music got a lot more attention. So I chose to do today an adaptation of a really beautiful song, One by U2, which I've sort of rewritten as an ode to 2020. I've always loved this song, and since I first heard it, and then later when I found that Bono had actually written this song when U2 was going through some pangs of separation, but it was also the time when Germany was reunifying, and he sort of describes in this song the heartache of separation, but also this image of unity. And I think among the many lessons that we have learned through the pain that we've all experienced in 2020, I think one of the key facts that we've realized is that we are actually quite vulnerable. We might think that we have things in control, but as individuals, well, there's not very much we can do. Also, as selfish individuals, we sort of desecrated this planet. As humans, we have to learn to coexist and realize quickly that there is more that actually unites us than divides us. Whether we look at smaller communities, as lighting designers or as designers, or even larger ones, maybe culturally or geographically, we have to learn to work together. So this is what I thought I would put across in this song. Joe, can you play this one for 2020?
Is it getting better? Or is it still the same? Will it make it easier on you now? You got 1 year to blame. You say one love, one life. All you need is the light. One love you have to, got to share it. Leaves you, baby, if you don't care for it, no. Did it disappoint you? Or leave a bad taste in your mouth? You act like you never had love, and you want the world without. Well, it's too late tonight to drag past out into the light. We won even though we're not the same. We've got to carry each other, carry each other. Whoa. Have you come here for forgiveness? Have you come to raise the dead? Have you come here to be a prophet to the lepers in your head? Do we ask too much, more than a lot? We all have something, babe, that's all we've got. We wonder we're not always the same. We got to help each other, then we do it again. You say love is a temple, love a higher law. Love is a temple, love a higher law. We all have to enter, shouldn't have to crawl. And we gotta be holding on to what we've got, when all we've got is one love, one blood, one light. We got to do what we should. One life with each other, sisters and brothers. One life, though we're not the same. We got to carry each other, carry each other. Whoa.
One love indeed. I guess a lot of us sang along. I for sure did. And I guess we do have a lot of reasons to light a candle at the end of the day. Thank you, Linus.
Thank you very much, Purvi. Now my host with the most, the co-host. You get a choice just once, and Purvi is one of the ones that you should choose. She's an architect, a lighting designer, an artist, also a surfer and a diver, a lover of animals in any shape and form and description. She's also a traveler. No, wait a minute. She's an explorer with a keen eye, a curious mind, and an absolutely joyful disposition. For those who know her, know that these attributes barely begin to describe her. For those that don't, you should. Purvi is going to take us on a voyage of unique discovery that captures the essence of her travels around the world. In it, she finds the very heart and soul of the city and its people. Enjoy Pulse.
Thank you, Linus, for that humbling introduction. Um, okay, so here goes my entry. It's called The Pulse. I do capture what I see sometimes on a DSLR and more often on my mobile phone. And as Linus already said, I like to move around and see new things. It's my biggest educator. It charges my mind and my creative juices. So to give you a little bit of a background, I'm from a little town called Surathkal in the outskirts of Mangalore. It's a little coastal fishing village with about 61,000 people, which is nothing for India, right? Soon enough, I moved to Bangalore at the age of 17 and suddenly met a whole lot of other Indians from, say, 3,000 kilometers away, completely alien to anything I'd known before. And this was my beginning to expand my little horizon. This exposure to all new was so enriching, to say the least, and I think I got addicted. The easiest backpacking trip I did was to Southeast Asia at 22, and this shot was from a busy street in Chiang Mai, a very interesting space, I think, with the most drastic shift from day to night. There is a lot of wealth in market spaces. Markets have existed for as long as humans have engaged in trade. You see people, communication, interactions and exchanges in its most authentic forms. You see things being sold totally unimaginable, and you win experience that money can't buy. Before I knew it, I moved to Dubai. I would dare say that it is a geographically, I think, quite centrally positioned with one of the best connectivities where you're 3 hours away from India, 6 from Frankfurt, 8 from London, and 4 from Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam is the capital of Tanzania in Africa. One of the most beautiful markets I've seen would be here. Arab influence, as you can see here. In antiquity, markets were typically situated in the town center. In the Middle East, prior to the 10th century, marketplaces were situated in the perimeter of the city along established trade routes, right? This is a daytime flea market of non-perishables lying low from a main street in Tbilisi, which is the capital of Georgia. The entire market is probably manned by 3 people. Often you also find markets outside religious spaces. This one is outside a 6th century Georgian Orthodox monastery called Juari Monastery. Some of the most aggressive trade and the best of dialogues take place in such market spaces. It's a French proverb that says, trade knows neither friends nor kindred. In Asia, a system of morning markets trading in fresh produce and night markets trading in non-perishables is quite common. India also established temporary seasonal markets in regional districts. You most often find craftsmen, metal workers, woodworkers outside of market spaces that live, and you see the most valuable handcrafts one can ever see. In many places, designated marketplaces have become listed sites of an historic architectural significance. This is the iconic building of B.B. Doshi, the premier, and it's a cultural center. Now, the space outside here has turned into a market. This image is in Jaffna, one of my favorite market spaces, just 26 years out of civil war. This was from 2011, and it was just out of war in 2009. Right, so food. The picture says enough, and I think it's more about what you put in your mouth. It's also about what you see, the picturesque arrangement of street vendors. And I always admire how they put together their fruits and vegetables and also sprinkle it with water every now and then to keep it fresh, to attract their passerbys. Right, so I leave you here with my last slide and my most favorite market in Mumbai. It's called the Chor Bazaar. For those of you who don't know, Chor Bazaar literally translates to thieves' market. As the proverb goes, even a thief takes 10 years to learn his trade. Thank you very much.
What a beautiful perspective, Ruby. That sort of really changes the way you end up looking at a place when you travel around. And geez, the places you've been to, awesome. Really nice. But tell me one thing. Post-pandemic, what advice would you give a traveler to really feel the way you have the place that they have visited?
I would say often you don't know when you're returning to a place or visiting next, if you ever would. So I'd say go in with all your senses fully charged and on. I think your sense of smell, touch, the sounds you hear, and the most amazing things you taste, just fall in love, I would say.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I know true passion. Go ahead, Pooja.
Absolutely, one life to live. So on to our next presenter, Dr. Amardeep Dugar. He's one of the reasons why we have IALD India and why we're even gathered here today. He doesn't just have an architectural PhD in lighting controls. This innately driven person is known to take anything he gets into up to the hilt, for example. He practiced yoga up to the level of mastery, and today he's a certified yoga teacher. And as far as we know, it is a similar story with dance. He's a certified dance choreographer and a budding musician too. All three are on display in this heartwarming video that we're going to see next. Amar, thank you for being such a sport. Do you still get an opportunity to shake a leg amidst your pressing work schedule?
I mean, dance is something which I've been missing for quite a number of years now, because I was dancing for almost 16, 17 years. But whenever I get a chance, I don't miss out. So maybe it could be a small music thing happening. Even if I have to go and dance secretly, I go into some corner and just shake a little bit of a leg so that I can keep my muscles warmed up a little bit. Because I need a stage to perform. I don't like dancing at parties that much, but because I think it's an art form. It has to be performed. People need to enjoy it. And so that's the way it is.
I'm amazed that you still do this, even if it's secretly. So let's watch it in action then.
Hi everyone, I'm just going to be demonstrating a few of one of my favorite yoga asanas for you. So let's begin. This asana is called the Sarvanga Asana, or also known as the shoulder stand. It's an excellent asana for people having varicose veins problems and also any kind of thyroid problems. One of my favorite asanas. Take the leg up to 90 degrees. Slowly take your leg parallel to the ground. Slowly, with the help of your hands, raise your trunk up and come to a shoulder stand pose. Now this is the static shoulder stand pose. What you could always do is add a little bit of dynamism, which I like to do. I go into a warrior pose. You can get into a squat pose, which is also known as the Padmasana. Warrior pose is known as the Virabhadra Asana. I can do a scissor pose. Brings in a lot of flexibility. Slowly sail, bring your leg down, move your body, and come to a Shavasana pose. Now once you've done a shoulder stand pose, it's also important to do its complementary pose, because yoga always has a balancing way of working, but where there's one straight pose and then you do complementary. And the complementary for the Sarvanga Asana is known as the Matsyasana. So let's do Matsyasana on the fish pose. Bend my legs and come to Padmasana. Slowly, with the help of my hands, raise my head up, put the ground of my head on the ground. Then try to catch hold of my big toes. Excellent asana for any kind of thyroid problems. And very slowly come back, down, and thank you. That's for me. That's a little bit of yoga classes. Bye bye.
खाली हाथ जाएंगे बस प्यार के दो मीठे बुल झिलमिलाएंगे तो हंस क्योंकि दुनिया को है हंसाना है मेरे दिल को
Facets, many facets for this one man. Look at him. On one side, you see this Dr. Saab in a robe. On the other side, you see him rocking the stage like that. I'm sure everybody was tapping their feet and trying to make out who's that stud right there in the center. Awesome work, Amar. Really amazing. You got to
Thank
share
you.
this.
Thank you.
How do you manage this number of, things that you do parallelly at the same time? Does the yoga help? What's the secret, Doc?
No secret. I guess it's just about prioritizing is what I would say. When you have something, you need to do something, then you need to identify. I mean, all these talents are important, but sometimes when I want to spend more time on something, then something else I need to sacrifice. So the idea of what to hold on to, what to let go is something which you need to master to be able to juggle around with so many talents. And yoga is something which I just started very recently during the lockdown. That's because I wasn't able to do a lot of travel is my passion. So when I wasn't able to do travel, that all that creative energy that was going into frustration, I needed to channelize into something else. And I thought the best way would be to actually follow one more passion of mine, which was always to become a yoga instructor. So all that creativity was transferred into my becoming a yoga instructor. So I'm sure once when travel starts, maybe something else would get a beating. So I don't know. Let's see. Just need to keep my breath in cool and try to see which one to hold on to and which one to let go.
Amazing, Doc. The aplomb with which you pull it all off is absolutely amazing. Inspirational stuff. Thanks so much. And it's really great to have this
Thank you.
very humble
Thank you.
man finally agree to come on stage and perform. Thanks a lot, Amar. Move on to our next.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, Amar. See you soon. Hang around. Srijana. Srijana is an engineering final year student already bitten by the lighting bug. She is an exuberant, very optimistic person with an almost incandescent personality. She's a true artist. She loves learning about art in any of its forms. Okay, and she takes this up with passion. She is a Bharatanatyam dancer and teacher. Watch out, guys. She's also a Kalari Yoga expert. She's a practitioner and she's soon going to be training you guys. Okay, for those uninitiated in this, Karari Paryatu is an Indian martial art form which Srijana is exceptionally good at. Also, Srijana, a little bird told me this interesting tale about you and a bamboo flute. Would you like to elaborate?
Yeah. So I hope I'm audible. Yeah.
Yes, you are.
So I come from an art-loving family. So as a child, I was exposed to a lot of music, dance, fitness, and all of that. And my initial steps were into dance. My parents put me into dance, and eventually I started performing, then teaching, choreographing, then researching under the guidance of my gurus, and it went on like that. See, two main aspects of dance are music and movement. So music, whenever I heard flute, especially like anywhere it played, or any shows or any concerts I would attend, I would just get goosebumps. It was always magical for me. So that's where I picked up learning flute, and I started learning that. And in movements, I always saw Kalari, Payatu, and yoga being very intense on the body. So that's when I also saw it as, uh, an add-on for my dance fitness. So I started practicing those. So yeah. So here I learned all of these.
You managed to sort of combine this all together and follow them individually as well as combine them together. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's have the attendees have a look at how you've managed to combine this together. Enjoy.
Tom tanana dhire na dhire na 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 Udana dhim tadana dhim tana dhire na Udana dhim tadana dhim tana dhire na Dhim tano 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 tadhire na Dhim tano 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 tadhire na Tom tanana dhire na dhire 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 na Udana dhim tadana dhim tana dhire na Udana dhim tadana dhim tana dhire na Dhim tano 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 tadhire na Dhim tano 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 tadhire na Tom tanana dhire na dhire na Tom tanana dhire na dhire na Tom tanana dhire na dhire na Tom tanana dhire na Udanadim tadirena direna Udanadim tadirena Udanadim tadirena direna Udanadim tadirena direna dim tadirena direna dim tadirena direna dim tadirena direna dim tadirena
Stunning.
Wow.
Brilliant.
Super impressed with the moves and the way you got your foot above your head. How's that even real? But that level of balance and strength definitely takes consistent effort, doesn't it? How much time do you put in on a daily basis?
So it's not more about a daily, consistency is definitely very important. So that's the reason I practice a lot of yoga and, kalari and all of that. That helps more in balance, control, and, all of that. So apart from that, generally when we have shows lined up, that's when we have back-to-back shows or, a lot of shows lined up. That's when we kind of give a lot of time for practicing, especially sometimes it happens to be like from morning 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. We keep practicing with a just lunch hour gap. And sometimes when we don't, I focus on the other aspects. That is normally when we don't have much of programs. A few days I teach, a few days I choreograph, a few days I learn, take my lessons. And I just balance all of that like that. And my hardcore practice comes out on weekends. That's when I combine all these elements together and I practice it on a weekend. So yeah, that's how it's been till now.
Incredible, incredible. Super amazing.
Thank you.
Srijana.
Thank you.
Okay, so next we have Sandeep. Sandeep, would you like to turn on your camera, please? Okay, there he is. So Sandeep has been in the lighting industry for the last 16 years. He started his lighting career with Highbeck Lighting and continues to represent them in India till date. This dynamic gentleman has been around 54 countries. And the only 2 continents he says he hasn't stepped foot in are Antarctica and South America. I hope you all have your glasses ready since he's going to take us down the memory lane of Kishore Kumar and his Geet. Sandeep, interestingly, the choice of tracks that you've selected are all from before you were born, you say. I'm sure there's a very good reason for the selection. Would you like to share your thoughts with the audience?
Hello, everyone. Well, there's actually no reason for it. It's a coincidence. I was talking to Linus about this as well. A son takes away. I shouldn't say traits, but he takes away things from his father that he used to not like. I've heard of this saying, and for me, it's the same. Uh, all these songs are actually my dad's favorite songs, and I somehow just had a liking for them when I've grown a bit older, I guess. So these are just songs which I really enjoy. And at the time when my dad used to play them, when I was a kid, when I was a young boy, I used to hate them, like literally. I used to be like, why is dad boring me? But now, if I have a son, then I would probably make him listen to the same songs and he would do the same thing, I guess.
I'm sure we can all relate to that analogy.
Yes,
Daughter or
probably,
son.
probably.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Daughter or son, whatever. I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, Joe, shall we get the video on?
1, 2, 3 बेकरार करके हमें यूं न जाइए आपको हमारी कसम लौट आइए बेकरार करके हमें यूं न जाइए आपको हमारी कसम लौट आइए एक लड़की भीगी भागी सी सोती रातों में जागी सी मिली एक अजनबी से कोई आगे न पीछे तुम ही कहो ये कोई बात है प्यार हुआ इकरार हुआ है प्यार से फिर क्यों डरता है दिल प्यार हुआ इकरार हुआ है प्यार से फिर क्यों डरता है दिल माला जनाब ने पुकारा नहीं इंतहा हो गई इंतजार की आई ना कुछ खबर मेरे यार की वो हमें है यकीन बेवजह वो नहीं फिर वजह क्या हुई इंतजार की। दिलबर मेरे कब तक मुझे ऐसे ही तड़पाओगे, मैं आग दिल में लगा दूंगा वो कि पल में पिघल जाओगे। एक दिन आएगा प्यार हो जाएगा, मैं आग दिल में लगा दूंगा वो कि पल में पिघल जाओगे। मैं शायर तो नहीं मगर हंसी, जब से देखा मैंने तुझको मुझको शायरी आ गई। मैं काफिर तो नहीं मगर हंसी, जब से देखा मैंने तुझको मुझको बंदगी आ गई। प्यार का नाम मैंने सुना था मगर प्यार क्या है ये मुझको नहीं थी खबर। मैं तो उलझा रहा उलझनों की तरह, दोस्तों में रहा दुश्मनों की तरह। मैं दुश्मन तो नहीं मगर हंसी, जब से देखा मैंने तुझको मुझको दोस्ती आ गई। Thank you everyone. Thank you guys. Thank you. Love you all. Thank you.
So fun.
I would encourage Sandeep. That was really nice, and I'm sure there were a lot of people that were actually singing along with you in the background. Look, guys,
Thank you.
interactive. We can't really applaud for Sandeep much as we'd like to, share a drink with him and thump him on the back. But please feel free to use the chat box, enter your comments for all the participants. It'll be wonderful for them to go through it and see your appreciation. Sandeep, I heard a lot of pyar in that song, right? And for our international audience, tomorrow being Valentine's Day, pyar is love. Would you like to translate maybe some of the lyrics that are related to Valentine's Day for people who might not understand Hindi?
Sure. Actually, it's more than pyar. This is about something else. This is the last song that we just played is actually "Main shayar to nahi." Basically means I'm not a poet, but when I saw you, I became a poet. I'm not a lover boy, but when I saw you, I became a lover boy. So it's more than pyar basically. So it's a very hummable song, and it's a beautiful song. Yeah. So Valentine's Day is every day if you take it properly.
Deep. That was Love. And the translation is absolutely beautiful. Thanks so much, Sandeep.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Let's move on to our next presenter. And now we cross the globe to welcome Nithika. Nithika is an award-winning lighting designer with a diverse international background, adept at delivering both lighting design projects internationally, whether it's across US, UK, Middle East, Germany, wherever. Light Dew is now her own practice that she runs in Germany. And in her spare time, she loves to expand her culinary skills, taking inspiration from cuisines that she's experienced in all these different areas. Okay? She explores the use of natural ingredients to promote health and well-being. And her favorite cooking ingredients, incidentally, are the natural herbs and seasonal flowers from her own home garden. Nithika, that's just inspirational. I'll let you explain in your own words this endearing manner in which you carry art into your kitchen.
Well, the artist in me believes that a pan is just like a blank canvas, and ingredients are like colors. And to create the wow effect, I love to enhance my dishes artistically. And food definitely is part of happiness. This is what I am.
Oh, we agree for sure. Okay, for those of you who are ready for an appetizing feast, watch what Nitka is cooking up.
So now coming to the recipe, we need 100 grams of almond flour. We need about 100 grams of castor sugar. We need about 100 grams of refined sugar. We need a pinch of salt. And we need about 75 ml of egg white. Here you can see I've started making some small circles for my macarons on the baking tray. You also can get a baking mat. You get specifically some baking mats for macarons. In order to ensure that we have no cracks on the surface of our macarons, we need to let it sit for 20 minutes. And in order to get rid of all the bubbles on the surface of the macarons, we need to tap it twice. Now we will reduce the temperature to 145 degrees and we will set a timer for, say, about 12 minutes. So after 12 minutes, we will take our macarons out and we can see that they look gorgeous now, and they have also developed like a ring outside. And yeah, so we will just take them out and let them cool. Here I have taken some golden dust and mixed a little bit water. So I'm going to paint half of my macarons with golden dust so that it gives a nice creative idea and also a little bit of a royal touch, and it goes really well with our Christmas. So I thought it would just look pretty, and this is actually something where your creativity comes in, and you can always play around to make something look really beautiful. Now I will put our mixture that we made with the rose flavor in a piping bag and start making the filling. So now here we go, and now I got the filling in my piping bag, and I'm just going to squeeze it slowly on my macarons. Like this. And then just place the top on them and squeeze. Voila, and this is our macaroon.
So mouth-watering. Yeah, I think time to order some just right now. But thank you, Nitika. That was such a beautiful piece put together. Your delivery was also so poetic. Thank you. But do you ever consider commercializing, your skills so that
Well,
we from India could use
well,
this?
well, I have been actually thinking, to be honest, like maybe with growing experience, like maybe to write a book in German and publish it maybe in Germany, because many Germans are inspired by vegetarian Indian cooking. And eventually, maybe have a YouTube channel, maybe the better I get. But I think this is what the lockdown did to me. I think I became quite artistic in the kitchen.
Good to know. Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, so on to our next presenter, Manik. Manik, would you please come on? So Manik is a lighting designer and an architect who will be introducing himself through his entry, but let me take the liberty to introduce the other side of Manik. He's also a part-time farmer that grows organic produce and has adopted the more green and sustainable way of living. Kudos to you, sir. He believes it's about the finer things in life as a life mantra. Interestingly, he's a trained national level martial artist. Some of the arts that he has trained in are karate, MMA, boxing, kickboxing, and even capoeira. But Manik, have you ever been in a position where you've felt the need to use these skills?
Only in tournaments. Yeah, I'm a lover, not a fighter. However, there was this one time when I was detained in Norway for concealing deadly weapons. In my defense, I was just walking down the street with my hands in my pocket. So,
Well said.
Right. So let's find out more about Manik.
The more peaceful side of Manik.
Hi, my name's Manik. As a designer, I'm influenced tremendously by what I see, experience, and feel. There's also a desire for my work to be timeless. To me, photography is all about capturing a moment, a slice of history. The second you release the shutter, that moment is already history. That instance has been captured. My images also reflect the phase of life I was in. These images that you see are from a time when I was living overseas. I was exposed to different styles of design, execution, materials, culture, and life experiences. As a tourist traveling overseas, my experiences were totally different. It was limiting. It was about seeing as much as I could in the little time that I had there. Living overseas, however, helped me to pause. It allowed me to experience mundane, minute details that escape my notice as a tourist. After all, God is in the details. Another constant in my photography is in almost all my works has been lines and geometry. Typically, my approach was to set the number of images I would take, say 24 or 36, much like the good old celluloid camera days. With that in mind, I'd just put my camera away and soak it all in. Look at the finer things, admire the little things, and then I'd try to capture the moment. So it might have taken 1/25th of a second to click that photo, but it was done after soaking in that moment and a lot of careful deliberation, so that I could almost capture the essence, distill the essence of that moment into that image. Each image is a curated image with a simple philosophy. What can I subtract from that image in order to enhance it? I subtract and keep taking elements away from that image till it stops working as an image or a composition. This method has also helped me shape my current design approach. The images that you see, although minimal, speak volumes to me because they captured a memory, a moment where I paused and took in that sliver of time. Thank you.
Inspiring stuff, Mr. T. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
I think I've been very lucky to see you. I've been studying and working with Manik for a long time now, and it's been an absolute pleasure, especially when you watch him take his photographs, work. But tell me, dude, what is this one place that you still haven't yet been to? I mean, you've traveled a lot already that you would love to, the moment lockdown finishes. Where would you head off to next to capture, another one of these timeless photographs of yours?
One place it's hard to pick, but if you'd asked me this question about an hour ago, I would have probably said Greenland or Mongolia. But after watching Purvi's presentation, I'm tempted to visit a few other places. Madagascar seems to be featured there, and yeah, so many of Dar es Salaam. Yeah, I think I'll have to sit down with a world map and just toss a dot at it and see wherever it lands, and I'll happily go there.
I'd like to be party to this, Manik.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do that.
Let's do
Good
it.
luck, buddy. Keep it up. Awesome work.
Thank
Thanks
you
so
so
much.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very pleasure. Let's move on to our next participant, Bhanumati. She's the founder and director of Balika Lights, based in Chennai, who believes that, if you like your job, your career chooses you. These are her own words. Welcome, Banu, our enthusiastic, energetic lighting professional who merges and blurs this boundary of personality and profession. While not working on projects, Banu engages in a youth-focused nature appreciation and conservation program as a volunteer, and she's been doing this for the last 10 years. I'm curious, Banu, did you choose this path because you prefer the getaway to the real forests and animals, or the fact that you got a chance to work with younger minds? What has it been for you?
Hi, Linus.
Hi.
Thanks for the introduction. Hello, everyone. About the question that you just asked, I'm actually happy to let the animals be in their happy homes, peaceful by themselves without any human intervention. And I don't think animals need to be educated. It's us humans who needs to be educated, learn and unlearn constantly. And this task, I think, is much easier with younger minds. And I actually enjoy working with children. The kind of perspectives that we learn from them is like fantastic. We actually begin thinking that we are going to pass on something to them. And then at the end of the journey, we learn quite a lot from them.
Very nicely put. So almost like the
100%.
teacher being the one taught. That's beautiful.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's see some of the work that Banu has been doing over the last 10 years.
Hi, I'm Bhanumati, and the story goes back 15 years. Before I began juggling luminaires, designers, projects, and punishing timelines. This began when I lived in Coimbatore and was a teacher. But it was beyond just the regular teaching. I was more excited about introducing new ideas and activities to children. One such activity was Go Wild, a nature club founded by Payal Mulu and formed to bring an understanding of the wonders of nature to younger children. The slide you see here is one such activity that we organized with an enthusiastic bunch of students. Together, we researched the different types of indigenous trees of India in the spaces around us. We helped them document them, study their characteristics, and assisted them in arranging an exhibition to further spread their learning to the community at large. We thought it was very important for us to work with children at a very young age and encourage them to learn about nature and the way it works by experiencing it firsthand and by helping them research methods to live with and to safeguard our precious ecosystem. It was a study that was designed to take them out of the classroom, beyond their theatrical aspects and bookish knowledge, and give them a more practical bend of mind while also busting some myths. The future of our living planet is in the hands of the youth to effect a change. Working with children on Go Wild workshop was my first inspiration. What you see in this and the next slide are two illustrated storybooks published recently with the intention of reaching out to younger minds. Hoping Zoo Reach would bring out more such storybooks. This one was a fun story about a unique and adorable monkey, the Himalayan grey langur, and within the story were tidbits of information and fun facts. This one was translated into multiple languages, English and Kannada, and hopefully more languages in the future, and is about the much maligned rodents. Despite all the negative press about these creatures, we believe in the balance of nature and the role these critters play is very important. These books were designed and worked on by Payal with some talented illustrators. We hope Zoo Reach would be able to bring out more such storybooks written to break the myths about some of the misconstrued information on animals. These causes need support, and I help to bring donations to publish these books and organize nature workshops for children. I sincerely hope to be more involved in the coming days. I firmly believe that we exist on this planet together with nature, building bonds that tie us together in ways that we still have to learn about. And because we are in this together, we have to encourage our children to be more responsive and understanding about this delicate balance. We must continue to create opportunities to help build a platform for saving rare species and fading habitats from disappearing completely. Let's build a better world. Thank you.
So tell us, what is that one thing you'd like to spread awareness about? And I'm sure, as a community, together we can do a lot more.
Absolutely right. It's what we are going to do as a community. Let's do whatever we can to treasure what we are blessed with in this planet. Anything, never mind how trivial you think it is going to be. Sometimes just the thought will help. That's where we all begin with anything, right?
Absolutely. So well said. Thank you, Banu.
Thank you.
Thanks, Banu.
Thanks, Linus.
Okay, on to our next presenter, Umang. Hi, Umang.
Hi, namaste.
He has been representing the lighting manufacturer LED Linear for the last 7 years. While he is quite popular and the go-to person for LED Linear in India, he secretly slips away from office to sneak shots of birds and wildlife. When he travels intercity for meetings, he carries his laptop in his camera bag rather than the other way around. That says a lot about his passion for photography. He's an avid wildlife photographer who sees the wonder and beauty in shooting the same subject positioned differently each time he returns to shoot a new moment. Umang, what is the longest time you have waited to capture a shot that you've, say, painted in your mind?
Uh, it will be for around 3.5 hours. I waited for one particular moment where the bird would come in up close, personal, so that I can get a portrait of that bird. So that was 3.5 hours for that.
Wow. So is it just a patient wait then without, because I'm sure, you don't make much sound, isn't it?
It's absolutely about all the patience and everything. And the best thing is I can switch off my phone at that moment and nobody calls me, no calls or nothing, no disturbance, away from the hustle of the world, and it's calm and quiet, and just wait for that music which is coming to the ears from the birds.
Perfect. Right. So let's learn more about the world of wildlife from Umang.
Hi, a very lovely morning to all the people. Namaste. I am Umang Rajpal from LED Linear, India. And welcome to this place, the paradise, where I enjoy my time every week, spend few hours close to the nature, the birds, not wild animals here, but mostly the birds and the nature. So right now the time today is 7 o'clock in the morning. It's not windy but chilly enough. My sincere thanks to IALD for this event, and my special thanks to Linus for remembering my first passion, that's about photography, wildlife, birding, and being a magnet to pull me into this event. So thank you, Linus. About my passion, it all started in the year 2015 when I realized that I have a certain bent towards the photography, especially the birds and the animals. Now, this passion takes me every weekend to a place where I can go, sit, relax, and take photographs of the birds and animals and be close to the nature. It's very calm, away from the hustle of the busy world, and very relaxing. It gives me a lot of caffeine for the next whole week. Even I can skip a working day if I get a chance that, okay, there is a place where you can go and you can photograph a beautiful bird. I can skip my work for that as well. One has to work to survive, but one must have a passion to remain alive. A lesson learned late, but not too late. And I purchased a DSLR equipment worth 60,000 rupees. That was the start of it. I was not sure where I'll be heading to. Within 2 years, I bought equipment almost worth rupees 4,50,000 INR. And I knew I would be heading to the family court soon because my friend is a very good lawyer in the background. But it didn't happen. So this is all about how I started. An interesting fact which is related to lighting and photography. The 2000 Kelvin, the very warm white in lighting, and when we set the 2000 Kelvin to a professional DSLR camera, it gives you a very bluish white background and output of the photo. And the 10,000 Kelvin in lighting, which means very cool or bluish white, when you set the same color temperature to the camera, it gives you a very warm white image. Why? Just Google it. I am not at all good at videographing myself, kind of like vloggers do, or taking selfies. So this is all because of Linus. Thank you, Linus.
Hey, some really breathtaking shots there, Umang. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's like beautiful. I'm seeing the comments also that are coming in there. It's like people are really impressed with
So
the beautiful.
gorgeous. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you,
And
thank you, everyone.
I'm actually envious that you managed to get away every weekend. Is that what you said?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. So tell me honestly now,
Yeah.
have you ever been prey to one of your subjects on these weekends?
Uh, there was one moment actually where there was no birds to photograph. So, and there was a squirrel, and a small squirrel which looked like both the legs, the hind legs were paralyzed because it might have fallen off from the tree. So it was
Oh,
not able to run properly. So I gathered some courage and went so that I can place it to a safe place. So the moment I came near, an animal is an animal, whether it's a squirrel or a tiger. So it had its basically thought of like I am trying to attack her, and it bit my thumb, and the blood came oozing out. So after immediately when I packed up from there, I went to the doctor, and doctor said, "Well, there are two things which you can do. Either you find the squirrel after a week and check whether it's dead or not, or get 4 shots. That's it." So I chose to have 4 shots, and then that's it.
lovely little anecdote. Good. I hope that squirrel survived, and I'm glad that you did.
Yeah. So that
Great
was it.
story. Thanks so much, Umang. That was really
Thank
awesome.
you, Mark.
Thank you, Purvi. Thank you, Linus. Thank you so much.
Let's move on and again cross over oceans to another part of the globe to introduce Neha. Neha has woken up very early in the morning to join us from California. She's an architect by training, but an artist by heart. Um, she has been an architectural lighting designer for, I think, almost 16 years now in the San Francisco Bay Area. Is that right, Neha?
That's right.
And when not working, Neha spends her time pursuing her two passions: dance. She's a trained classical Kathak dancer, having learned Kathak at the adult age of 25. So, those who are watching, it's not too late. But also illustration. And this second passion of hers has been something that she's sort of indulged in more over these trying times, but has developed this unique style of illustration to portray abstract concepts, current affairs, sweeping landscapes. And here's the part that I really love: to illustrate thoughts. All this while she continues to enjoy her lighting design work and raise her two strong girls. Amazing, Neha. Good morning.
Good
This,
morning.
this is really early for you. And which one of these passion driven hobbies would you have typically taken up? How do you manage to fit this all in a regular day?
Yeah, well, between the two, I would pick dance for the morning time. Dance is something that I use to challenge myself physically and mentally and sort of keep me sharp and keep me going. As much as I would love to wake up early morning and dance, I'm not a morning person, and I have two little ones that need a little bit of my attention. So I keep dance for the quiet of the night, if you will. So 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every day is my me time after dinner and after the house is quiet and the chattering is all died down and the kids are in bed. That's when I take to my dance floor and sort of end the day on a high note.
Beautiful.
Inspiring to say the least.
Absolutely. So much to learn from today. Okay.
And like you were saying, learning something as an adult, I've always wanted to learn dance. And then at the age of 25, I found the biggest Kathak school outside of India, literally in my backyard here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I think I'm really lucky to, be able to get such amazing gurus so far away from home and pursue this.
Well, you go out and search for your passion and you find it in your backyard.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's have a look at how Neha illustrates.
Hi, my name is Neha Sivaprasad, and when I'm not doing architectural lighting design, I am obsessively illustrating on paper with my pen. All of my illustrations are physical and visual manifestation of my deepest feelings and thoughts. They are a reflection of my observations of the world around me. I indulge in abstract concepts, sweeping landscapes that have touched my soul, and sometimes dabble in intricate patterns and designs. I hope someday to be able to illustrate for a children's book or an album cover. Here's a quick walkthrough of my journey with lines.
That was so soothing to watch.
Thank you.
What a talent.
Thank you. This is
Thank you.
my sort of impulsive way to articulate my thoughts and feelings and almost process what's going on in my head, if you will.
Yeah.
You have selected some powerful subjects to illustrate, haven't you? And you showed some of them, like mother and love and things like this. How do you pick your topics?
So it's funny, very unlike my other side of dance, this is not a disciplined passion where I, pick a topic and decide to illustrate on. It's usually when I'm, overcome with some emotion of, whether it's grief, sadness, joy, happiness, love. It's when I'm overcome with some kind of emotion, and it's sort of a expression or articulation of what I'm feeling and a way to process what I'm feeling. I really feel the urge and the need to pick up my pen, get a paper, and just get it out of my head. So that's kind of how it comes together.
I have to say that comes across clearly in your drawings.
Thank you.
Spoken like a true artist, Neha.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so lastly, we'd like to hand over the baton to Lyle, our very dear Lyle. Lyle practices as a lighting designer too, and happens to be Linus's brother, and they run their practice together. He also grows his own food and enjoys getting his hands dirty. A musician, writer, and a performer. Most of all, he's a poet and calls himself a wanderer, a vagabond, and a pilgrim. Lyle also loves to bike, the kind that uses his pedal power, sometimes up to 100 kilometers a day, I'm told. I absolutely enjoy his philosophical take on life. Lyle, would you please share with us your sources for philosophizing life?
Well, actually, I must say that I'd like to keep all the sources at bay now, because there's only some point in philosophizing if there's somebody to listen. And my captive audience, my two kids are now grown up and they live elsewhere. So, I really don't see the point anymore.
Right. But you do speak of a lot of inspiration from nature, isn't it? Much like a lot of our other presenters.
Yes, I think nature is certainly something that has touched everybody very, very deeply. And each day the need to engage with it more, to love it more, becomes stronger and stronger.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. So let's get on to Lyle's presentation.
I am that fortunate man, a wanderer with memories. If I shut my eyes, wherever I am, I remember every detail of every beautiful place on this planet that I have been privileged to visit. They are places where the brush of my God tarried gently. A touch here, a flourish there, perhaps a smile, perhaps a tear. I've heard many rain songs and real woodwind symphonies played by stately devdars. Every mountain is an altar, and I have inhaled the fragrance of wood smoke like the incense in a benediction. My knees have bent in fatigued genuflection, listening to every manner of river song, sometimes wild, sometimes serene, sometimes possessed of dark, beckoning spells. I have been loved by the warmest of people, sharing what little they have with me, a complete stranger. I have left fear, fatigue, and chill behind. This is not easily done. For us city men, these are hard journeys. If you are a pilgrim, then keep a prayer on your lips. If you are a wanderer, you may sing. But as all journeys must, this one too will end with a farewell so wrenching that it can tear your heart from your chest. These farewells are tirades of silence. You will live with them forever and mourn a lifetime for this parting. All you have is what you remember, nothing else. Cast once over your shoulder, look back, it is gone. The places where rivers are born are truly sacred, and I've been privileged to visit, at last count, 27. I have been awed by the seeming desolation, the fractured, tormented rocks, the extreme cold, and the fear born of your own vulnerability. You reach exhausted. With each fall or slip, you realize how something as simple as a sprained ankle can prove fatal. But this reminder of your humanity is the best way to present yourself to this life force manifest before you. This is why I describe these journeys as pilgrimages. Look at this path, the original walking path to Gangotri, unused now, and you will understand what I mean. Some places along these riverine treks evoke special feelings. For example, I passed this little spot in the Pabbar Valley in Himachal, and it struck me as a place where long-lost friends might reunite, or long-lost friendships might rekindle, a place where all transgressions are forgiven. This brisk, energetic river slows down here, a spectacular aquamarine framed by moist, glistening rocks and heavy branched trees that stoop to the water's edge, shaded grassy banks where long parted friends can make peace and where confessions stay sealed. If I were looking for the right setting to reunite with old friends, it would be at a place like this. And this verse appeared in my head. Poetry gives you license, and my verses use words that are shaped and crafted and bent to suit my purpose. I will fling grammar, meter, and spelling to the side and ramble, stumble, lurch, or march into my verse. I remember once a river where poetry breathed, lyric and sapphic, where friends gathered and sighed their souls to the leaves and the air. The heavy branches of trees, burdened with secrets, stooped to the flow and laid their burdens to the water. The moisted, feathered rocks said, "We know not, for all is to earth now, and there stays. Till one day oblivia tolls, and then all must draw account."
Thanks, Dial. That was truly moving, as always. The joys of having an elder brother that can wax eloquent. And that's why we left this nice philosophical end to the evening. Having shared a few trips with you in different modes, some unique terrains, various circumstances, which would you say has been, maybe your most memorable trip, and why would it have been particularly memorable? Would you like to share that?
Well, certainly the most memorable trips have been the ones that we've done, along with our kids, and there have been some really, really beautiful ones. And I think the way it binds families together is just beautiful. To connect with wildlife and nature when you're there as a family has just been a wonderful experience.
So that brings us to the end of our presenters. And I hope you have all thoroughly enjoyed these presentations and the event. We'd like to once again thank all our panelists for their incredible efforts and being such super sports and superstars tonight. I would request all the panelists and presenters to please take a bow, switch on your cameras. I'd request Joe to just allow everybody to, all the panelists to be on view. And Amar, Srujana, Sandeep, Nitika, Manik, Banu, Umang, Neha, and Lyle, please switch on your cameras and take a bow. It has been a spectacular show, and I thank you guys a lot for a most inspiring evening. Good job.
Thank you all.
Please, all the attendees, please leave your comments and compliments in the chat box. Over to you, Purvi, and Joe, we can go to the last slide.
Okay.
Request all the panelists to put their cameras off.
Turn off. Yeah, thank you. So, to say the least, this has been the most interesting learning about the various dimensions that we can take on, provided we find our passions and chase it to fruition. We would like to specially thank our sponsors for today, who have generously presented cash vouchers to our participants. BEPS, K-Lite, Ray Bright, our gracious thanks. And to all you wonderful attendees for your time and continued support and encouragement. Watch this space. There's more to come on our next Lighting Superstars event, Lighting Interviews on the 20th March 2021. On behalf of IALD and IALD India region, we wish you all a wonderful weekend and an awesome Valentine's Day. Spread the love.
Seek out your passion, nurture it, enjoy it. Good night and thank you.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.